Welcome back to the Off the Ball podcast. I'm your host, Clay Tillman, and on today's episode, we're going to be breaking down the Bills vs. Jets game from Monday night. And also in the mix, we're going to be talking about the two Pro Bowl receivers, one traded to the Jets and one traded to the Bills, that happened the past few days. But before we get into those receivers, let's break down the game and let's hop right into the Bills box score. Josh Allen, 19 for 25, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns. Now, when reading Josh Allen's stats so far through week 6, there's an unfamiliar stat that nobody has mentioned yet. And that's because he hasn't done it yet. He hasn't thrown an interception so far through week 6. And the reason this is unfamiliar is because last year, Josh Allen threw 18 of them the whole season. And he hasn't thrown a single one now headed to week 7. This is great to see from Josh Allen. One, it's because, I've said this multiple times, their weaponry or the wide receivers Josh Allen has by his side aren't as reliable as somebody like Stephon Diggs, who Josh Allen has played for. His best receiver he's ever played with. And he is literally scrambling multiple times, especially in this game, to hopefully see a receiver open. And Josh Allen is good at that. One thing he's not good at is his decision-making, especially last year, when throwing for over 18 interceptions. This year has been a lot more conservative and smarter when it comes to his play style and his decisions he's making. He's been very conservative. And Khalil Shakir, his number one receiver so far through week 6, has been his guy. Curtis Samuel, we saw him a lot during this game. 3 receptions, 44 yards. Was a reliable guy for them on Monday night. And this was really his first show out this season. We really haven't seen much of Curtis Samuel. And one guy we saw tonight who exploded was Ray Davis, man. He was everywhere, running it or receiving it. 20 carries, 97 yards on the ground, plus 3 receptions for 55 yards in the air. And then Dawson Knox and Matt Collins, not many yards, but were able to get a touchdown each. So we consistently see Sean McDermott and his team consistently win. And this is a fabulous team. Josh Allen, like I said, hasn't thrown any picks. They have a solid wide receiver core. And now they upgrade James Cook. He was out, but like again, Ray Davis stepping up, coming in, really put a spotlight on himself. But adding a receiver in Amari Cooper, who they got from the Browns yesterday, or it was yesterday, yeah, Tuesday. And the talent that Amari Cooper brings, he's not as good as Stephon Diggs, but he's talented. We saw him on the Raiders, on Dallas, made a couple Pro Bowls. Made a Pro Bowl last year with the Browns under Deshaun Watson and Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco was their number one guy, but other than that, Amari Cooper is a fabulous and talented wide receiver. Great route runner, can catch the ball. You can rely on him. He's great, and he's going to do great things under Josh Allen. We saw what Stephon Diggs did under Josh Allen. He was a 4-time Pro Bowler. Amari Cooper can do the same. He can do the same stuff. He's going to move to wide receiver 1. Khalil Shakir will move to number 2. Keon Coleman will probably move to 3, or Curtis Samuel. We'll have to see. But now they have a guy who is big time, who is a Pro Bowler, that can help Josh Allen And Josh Allen really doesn't have to rely on scrambling or launching the ball multiple times in this game. Well, especially one time in this game where he threw a 47-yard pass to Ray Davis. And to me, it's like, man, this ball's going to get picked. But it was beautifully caught by Ray Davis. And Josh Allen was the power, was the horse behind that. But now with Amari Cooper, a quick route run to Amari Cooper, very reliable, can get you yards. Perfect pickup for them. Lost of Stephon Diggs. It was really interesting to see what the Bills could do without Stephon Diggs and with Khalil Shakir as their number one guy. But now bringing Amari Cooper in, you don't have to worry about that. This offense is continuing to get better. Once James Cook comes back, he's a top 5 running back in the league right now when he's healthy. But now you can rely on people like, hey, Ray Davis can do stuff for you. We've seen Khalil Shakir this whole season. We've seen what they can do. We've seen what Allen can do. Man, he is a scrambler. He is athletic. He can run the ball. The only problem is that he's getting hit too many times. So when you're playing a team, especially like the Jets, when it comes playoff time, or the Chiefs, who have good pass rush defenses, it's going to be a problem. Ravens as well. They have a good pass defense. Titans, they may not make the playoffs, but right now they're the number 1 pass defense. But when teams like that start stepping up and you start playing them when it comes to close games. Now, this was a very close game, so when it comes down to close games, when it comes down to last-minute drives, when it comes down to the postseason, there's going to be times where Josh Allen needs to stay in the pocket, needs to find receivers open, and does not need to fret when it comes to running out of the pocket trying to find receivers. Amari Cooper will be a helpful tool on that. Like I said, great route runner. Is going to be able to get open. And then Shakir as well is going to be a great number 2 for them. So Bills are in great hands right now. Right now, I have them making a huge playoff run, can still make the Super Bowl. I think they have a good defense. Josh Allen is having a heck of a season so far. 0 picks by him. He's playing incredible. And then their core and their running back core, perfect. They're doing great things so far through week 6, heading into week 7. It's looking good for the Buffalo Bills. Heading to the Jets. Yeah. 2-4 so far for the New York Jets. And this is a problem. Getting Aaron Rodgers coming back after an injury, Rodgers being the oldest quarterback in the league, there could be some issues with Aaron Rodgers. He's old. He isn't in his prime. He's not a Packer anymore. He doesn't have the receivers like the Packers did, like Davante Adams. But now they do. Davante Adams gets traded to the Jets. He's going to be a reliable guy. They're wide receiver 1, but we'll get to that in a second. Talking about the box score, this is probably Rodgers' best game as a Jet so far. 23 for 35, 94 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 ugly interception in the fourth quarter, which just sealed the game, hurt them really bad. And then Allen Lazard really turned up. 6 receptions, 114 yards, 1 touchdown. And don't forget, he caught a Hail Mary at the end of the first half. And then Garrett Wilson, their wide receiver 1, 8 receptions, 107 yards. 2 really great guys under the belt of Aaron Rodgers. Allen Lazard, former Packer. It's exactly why he's on the team. Aaron Rodgers brought him over from Green Bay and has been a reliable guy. Aaron Rodgers trusts him. When you're playing under Aaron Rodgers, we see Mike Williams. Aaron Rodgers really hasn't gained trust in Mike Williams yet to be a big receiver. Garrett Wilson has gained trust. Now it's like, okay, they're still losing. So what's the deal? Their defense hasn't been great this season. I mean, they have a good pass defense, but a pass defense going up against an offense like the Bills and Josh Allen, who can obviously scramble and give you rushing yards, who's a great quarterback, has a heck of an arm. It's very difficult with a scrambler like that. But in Monday's game, their defense was below par, especially their run defense. Ray Davis had 97 yards and 152 yards in scrimmage. And remember, in week 1, when they played the 49ers, Jordan Mason coming in for CMC, Christian McCaffrey, had 147 yards rushing. It seems like the Jets can make these subpar. I hate to say that because I think Jordan Mason's a great talent, but these no-names, kind of underprivileged running backs who aren't really in the spotlight turn up, have heck of games. And Jordan Mason has been a star so far through week 6, second in rushing yards, behind Derrick Henry, who's had a heck of a season. And now Ray Davis coming in, a rookie, blowing it up, 152 yards in scrimmage. And it's really been a problem. Tackling didn't look good. Again, they failed to contain Allen in the pocket. Miserable. You can't do that because once again, Allen can scramble. He can throw. He has great vision. This year, he's been an excellent playmaker, great decision maker. And then they also had 3 PIs, which hurt them. In total, defense and offense, they had 11 penalties for, I forget, it's for, where was it? It was 11 penalties for like 110 yards. Disgusting. Both sides, 22 penalties in total in the whole game. But for the Jets playing against a very good Bills team, you're going to have to make little mistakes as possible. It's as simple as playing pickleball. In order to win, you got to make little mistakes. You got to make less mistakes than the other person to win the game. And especially against a Jets team who's struggling, playing a Bills team who's a potential contender, yes, you're going to have to make little mistakes. And then flags thrown every other play. Aaron Rodgers' pick at the end, it hurts. It really does. Not keeping Allen in the pocket hurts. It really does. Because once the postseason comes around, and if the Jets can make that happen, which I still have my fingers crossed, I still think they can. But when it comes down to playing the Bills, the Chiefs, the Ravens, great defenses, great offenses, man, you're going to have to make little mistakes possible, and you're going to have to play on your A game. Because the AFC is tough. The best division in the league, in my opinion, this year. And for a Jets team who's struggling, the oldest quarterback in the league, still, they have a great wide receiver core. But other than that, a struggling defense so far. There's not much room to have them, even if they do make the playoffs, to go far. Now, it's only week 7, so they have enough time to build. Davante Adams is coming in as their wide receiver 1. Rodgers has played with Adams for a long time in Green Bay. Bring him over. The Jets are now looking like a former Packers team. There has been 11 guys from the Packers who have come over just to play with Rodgers. Rodgers is a great guy to play with. He's a future Hall of Fame quarterback. He can get the job done. He's a Hail Mary king. He's smart. This year, he's thrown 6 picks. Hasn't been the smartest, But now you're bringing in your most reliable guy probably ever. I mean, you have Randall Cobb, you have Jordy Nelson, but Davante Adams has been your guy for multiple seasons. Goes to the Raiders, doesn't like it there, comes to the Jets. Now, can we see this happen? Can we see an old Davante come to New York and play like he did in Green Bay? Help them in the playoffs. Hopefully help them stay in contention to make the playoffs. And like I said, help them in the playoffs as well. And we've looked, and you look back at Packers history, they've struggled in the playoffs. Rodgers, Davante, their defense have struggled in the playoffs. If they make it this year, in an AFC, a more competitive conference, how well will they do? How well will they really do with Davante Adams? You have Garrett Wilson, you have Allen Lazard playing wide receiver 3, now Davante playing wide receiver 1. It's going to be very interesting to see what Davante can do for the New York Jets. I think he'll do fabulous things. I think he's a great receiver. He's a top 5 receiver in the league. And he's now under his favorite quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, and probably Rodgers' favorite receiver. Their chemistry is great. They now have a fantastic offense. They have a good defense sometimes. But now it comes down to this. Can they perform at an A+ tier for the remainder of the season? They play Steelers next week, who has a good offense. Justin Fields has been playing well this season. They now have a good offense. And now for the remainder of the season, starting now coming in 2-4 until week 7, they're really gonna have to play their ultimate hardest. They're in a division with the Bills, so they're gonna have to play at their ultimate hardest to hopefully get that wild card position. And I think they can. I really think they can. And I think it will be an interesting remainder of the season for the Jets and ultimately for the Bills. I think they're in good hands, and I still think they can make a Super Bowl run. Now for the Jets, probably not. This could be Rodgers' last year, so there's a lot of questions in the air coming from them. And then firing Robert Saleh. Now this was a big topic before Monday's game. They fired Saleh, and was this replacement good? Ulbrich comes in. Jeff Ulbrich comes in for Robert Saleh as head coach. Nat Hackett, he gets demoted. He gets demoted from calling the plays. And Todd Downing, I think he did an excellent job. He allowed Breece Hall to have multiple open areas to run through. 18 carries, 113 yards. Also had 5 receptions, 55 yards. I think he did a great job. And now if you allowed Nat Hackett to do this, it would have been difficult. Nat Hackett comes to the Jets because of Aaron Rodgers, and he is one of the worst offensive coordinators in the whole league. He's done a terrible job, and if you're allowing him to be your play caller, man, it probably wouldn't have been 23-20. The Jets might have not scored. I don't think Nat Hackett is a good offensive coordinator at all. He's in the lower 5 of OCs. But Todd Downing did a great job replacing Nat Hackett as a play caller and allowed Breece Hall to run, to catch. through the first quarter, it looked like they were balling, and then they struggled in the remainder of the game. And now Jeff Ulbrich, this was his first time as a head coach. They're now cleaning up the gears. They're pedaling again. Davante Adams is coming in. They now have a new offense. So some interesting stuff is happening in New York, and we're really going to have to see what they can do in the remainder of the 10 weeks that we have left of the NFL. But that is it for today. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to continue to subscribe and follow and share. I love all y'all support. Make sure to follow all my socials: TikTok, Off the Ball with Clay Tillman, Instagram, Off the Ball with Clay Tillman, and also Twitter, same, Off the Ball with Clay Tillman. Thank y'all for listening, and I'll see you next time on the Off the Ball podcast. Have a good day.